So one last example with using Cramer's rule. Notice that this is a system of equation that has 3 variables. So 3 equations and 3 variables. And we're going to have to use 3 by 3 determinants to solve. First thing before we start is we're going to set up all of our determinants. And before you set things up, just make sure everyone is taken care of in terms of standard form. So we have the X column, all the X variable terms come first, the Y variable terms are second, Z variable terms third, and then we do have our constants on the far right side, all by themselves. So we're good for standard form. I'll write that Z a little nicer. A little tough. There we go. At this stage, let's just set up our determinants and then talk about what we want to do. So if you remember, D is the determinant of coefficients, and it has to do with just listing the coefficients of X, Y, and Z. So we should have, I have 1, 2, 3, 2, 6, 1, 3, 3, and 10. So far, so good. Next stage, D sub X. And what that is telling us, a little subscript gives us a clue as to what we're supposed to be doing. We're going to take our constants and replace the X column with those constants. So kind of keep that in mind. That'll be -2, 2, and another -2. And then what you can do for yourself is just repeat the determinant of coefficients for all the remaining elements. We now take D sub Y, and almost the same story. Instead of the X column, we will be replacing the Y column with our constants. And let me highlight that for you. So those constants are -2, 2, and -2. And I'll just rewrite everyone else the same from the determinant of coefficients. So the X column will be 1, 2, 3, and the Z column will be 3, 1, and 10. Now, we're looking at D sub Z, and you guessed it. Almost the same thing as far as the setup is concerned, except we are replacing the Z column with our constants. And those constants again, we have -2, +2, and -2. And then everyone else from the determinant of coefficients will remain the same. So I have X column 1, 2, 3, and Y column 2, 6, 3. So this is really good in terms of gaining partial credit if your teacher does grade you on partial credit, because then they can at least show that you understand the concept of setting up the correct determinants. From here, you know, the world is your possibility at this case. You have the choice. How do you want to evaluate these determinants? Do you want to do them by hand, or would you like to use your TI? And feel free. I know what I'd like to do, and I'm going to use it in a few seconds. But it really just matters on directions of the problems and what type of calculator you are allowed when you do these types of problems. So I prefer, there's no restrictions. I'm going to use my TI to evaluate all 3 of these determinants. There is a huge possibility if we do things by hand, we make a minor mistake and it throws our entire problem off. So if we do have the technology, we might as well utilize it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my TI and I'm going to have to enter in my matrices so that I get the correct answer. So let's see. We're going to switch over, and I'm going to have to reference my paper quite a bit. So keep that in mind. It's not just coming off of my head. And in order for us to evaluate determinants, we're going to have to enter them into the calculator. So you have a few options. You can all enter them separately, or you can enter them in as determinant A and then just keep modifying A as you go. Let's see what we can do. So favorite key for matrices, second X inverse. we are going to scroll over to the edit menu. I'm going to edit A because that's the one that always comes up first anyways, into a 3x3 determinant. So determinant of coefficients, be really careful as you're recopying the signs as you're editing. I have 1, 2, and 3, 2, 6, and 1, and 3, 3, and 10. So just double check one more time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 6, 1, 3, 3, 10. So at this stage, if you're interested, you can find the determinant. Second x inverse. We're going to scroll over to math, item number 1, and then we can call up our A. Second x inverse, matrix name A. Press enter, and we have what D is. So D is negative 13. So let's write that in as we go. That way we don't get confused. Remind ourselves right away, D equals negative 13. And what we're going to do is just kind of take care of the rest in the same manner. So I'll go back to our TI. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continuously be editing matrix A. Feel free to play around with the other matrices if you'd like. But I'm going to do second x inverse and then continue to edit matrix A because I kind of have most of the elements. If I want to find D sub x, what I'm looking at is replacing the x column with everyone else in terms of the constants. And the constants are negative 2. This time I'm going to use the arrow key to go down, positive 2, and another negative 2. Well, it's kind of nice. They're almost all the same. So that is our matrix, D sub x. So we'll go back, second mode to quit back, and pretty much you can keep calculating the determinant. So second x inverse, you'll get really good at this. Scroll over to math, select item 1, determinant, second x inverse, call up your matrix A because it's now different again. Press enter, and this time we got negative 104. So let's record that on our paper. I especially like to do this when I'm using 3x3s, just in case my eyes skip. I just go slowly, step by step, finding each determinant. Now, D sub y. So I'm going to pull out our trusty TI one more time, or a few more times. And second x inverse. I'll scroll over to edit, and I'll just continue to edit A. It's a little nicer, I guess. What matrix A now, I'd have to now re-enter, but I should have, the first column is X, so 1, coefficients of the X, and I'll use the arrow key this time just to kind of be clearer, 2, and 3. D sub y means that the Y column, our middle column in this case, gets replaced by your constants. So this is what we're entering. So negative 2, press the down arrow key to get, whoa, look at that. Negative 2, that's what we want. Now press the down arrow key. We have a 2. Press the down arrow key and another negative 2. You can press enter if you'd like. And now we have the exact matrix for D sub y. So let's quit out of this screen, second mode, and call up the determinant again. Second x inverse, call up matrix math, item number 1 determinant, second x inverse, call up matrix A, and this will be the determinant with the Y column just replaced, so that's equal to positive 26. So let's record that, switching over. So D sub y is equal to positive 26. And one more determinant to find, 3 equations means 3 variables and an extra determinant of coefficients. So we're almost there. Let's go to our TI. And I'm going to go back to editing the matrix, second X inverse. Go to edit, and I'm just dealing with A the entire time. And this is where I probably am now going to look at reminding myself that I am replacing the Z column with a constant. So X column is good. Let's put the Y values back in. So that should be a 2, down arrow key 6, down arrow key 3. And I'm going to move the up arrow key to replace the Z column with the constants, which are -2, down arrow key, +2, down arrow key, and -2. Press enter. Double check your matrix, make sure everything's good. And let's exit out, second mode. And one more time, determinant of A. So second X inverse, matrix math, scroll over, select determinant, second X inverse, call up matrix A, or whatever matrix you decided. Press enter, and we have another 26. So let's record that. We have a +26 as well. And sometimes I do get paranoid if I notice I have the same value like I did with d sub y. Sometimes there's a possibility we forgot to change something. But in this case, I'm clear we did change it. So we're feeling pretty good. So now you have all the values of the determinants. And I know it kind of feels a little bit tedious with the button pressing, but just think how much time you've saved if you don't have to do them by hand. I believe these 4 determinants that we're dealing with may take a lot of paper if we were try to compute them. But it kind of depends on what you're allowed to use. At least in my classes, we are definitely using our TI to evaluate these determinants when they have numbers as the entries. So we are almost set. We have given the values of d sub x, d sub y, and d sub z. The very last thing is we need to solve the system. So this is what Cramer's rule is going to help us out with. Remember, with Cramer's rule, we're going to have x equals d sub x over d. So let's take our values. D sub x is -104 over -13. And then we try to simplify it if possible. Like sometimes it looks a little scary, but I'll use my TI. I'll do it for you too, just in case, just so you can see. I don't know off the top of my head. Like I feel like it's weird, but let's do this together. I'm going to say negative over negative is positive. So I should have just 104 over 13, and then I'll just use the fraction key just to see if it reduces. So math, item number 1, press enter, and oh, I could have just pressed, I guess I could have just done the division because it is a nice integer. So that's actually equal to 8. Look at that. So let's go back, record that. So x value is actually equal to 8. Y value, d sub y divided by d. So that is 26 over -13. And that's kind of nice. I know 13 goes into 26 twice, but we do have a negative. So we have -2. Z, d sub z over d. And so that's also 26 over -13. So we also get a -2. So if we were looking at what the solution is, if we want to write the ordered triple, remember it's x, y, z. So x is 8, y is -2, and z is also -2. And that is my favorite way on how to solve a 3x3 system of equations using Cramer's rule. So I hope this helps Just be really careful with your calculators. It should be a little nicer of a process. I will see you in the next section.